As we want to start every lesson at Yahweh Yoga, we want to start with scripture. And so when we look at scripture, what does the Bible say about meditation? And Jesus really modeled meditation for us. That says he went up to the mountain every morning to meditate. I want to talk about the difference between prayer and meditation. Prayer is the act of talking to God. Meditation is the act of listening to God.
I think of this as kind of a storytelling, okay? And the story starts 7,000 years ago. 7,000 years of history that you're participating in. I think that's pretty cool. Yoga, as you know, means to unite or bring something together. What is that we're bringing together? Is opposites. So if I had a visual here for you, I'd put up a picture of yin yang. You know that Chinese symbol yin yang? It's like that black and white kind of, sometimes it's two little fishes intercircled like this. It's the union of opposites. What a lot of people don't notice about yin and yang is there's two dots in each of those circles of the opposite color. So while it's black and white and it's enmeshed with each other, there's still a little bit of the opposite that's actually inside of it. They're within, they're mixed, but they're separate. So that's the yoke. That's what we're uniting. The history of yoga was that it was very scientific. This was a philosophy. This was the psychology of that time frame, 7,000 years ago. Some of you may already know that the written tradition actually is only 3,500 years. Okay, it was right around the time of Moses.
So a great way to incorporate oils into the classroom, and one of the ways that I would use them when I'm teaching is offering them before class. So if you've seen an old movie where they're chewing on some leaves and then putting it on a wound to help heal it, like it's that. It's just basic. All of these things have constituents in it. All of your medicine, all of all of Western medicine, all of the things that we use to either help with healing in the body or even help with, the symptoms that we're experiencing, all come from the earth.
And so that is muscular energy, anything coming in to center of the body. Okay. So it makes things very strong, very structured. So a way to feel that is if you take your block and you place it in between your inner thighs and you squeeze the block, you can feel the concept of muscular energy. You're squeezing inward, you're squeezing towards the center of your body, right?
They hate somebody walking up to them and fixing their arm in front of everybody else. It was like, why my arm? Leave my arm alone, does it really matter? If it's a little like this, just like straighten your arms. And you don't have to go up to someone, no one likes to feel like that.
Knowing where your food comes from it ends up being the only way to answer that question, right? If you know your food came from South America, it's probably better to get it frozen, right? Because the shipping process is going to take a long time. If you knew that it came from your neighbor, just eat it fresh. Because your neighbor just grew it right down the street, walked it over, and said, thank you very much. We can't eat all this. Like, we have this all the time. Like, everyone plants the same things, and then there's way too much arugula to go around, right? Or way too much, and then we just end up trying to juice it because you're like, I have no idea how to use this.
The free Spotify accounts, after like the second and a half song in advertising.
Yeah.
Definitely like started a rap song like halfway into mine.
Oh my gosh.
Or something. Yes, I was just like, what's going on?
It's kind of yoga.
Like, okay.
It was beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That was perfect for after sitting all day. I have a really hard time sitting. Like, my back was hurting, my hips were tight, and I was like, oh, dear Lord, bless this woman who knew exactly what my body needed after sitting all day long. So that was perfect.
I would say Ezekiel products and any of those sprouted bread or sprouted tortilla products are going to be healthful compared to their counterparts, which are non-sprouted, often refined grains. And even if they're whole grains, they're usually not intact whole grains. So sprouted bread is often the best bet when it comes to bread. And that same thing would be considered for tortillas.
If you take a look, it says, love your neighbor as yourself, right? I think the yourself gets forgotten all the time. And that's really important, because when you take an hour to take care of yourself every day, whatever you're going to do, you know, for me, it looks like a bike ride with my husband and dog, and then come home, do a little yoga, do a little total gym, and I am great to go for the rest of the day.
But who's the best person who taught us discipline is Jesus. I mean, he was so dedicated. He went up to the mountain every morning to pray and meditate, and he taught us and he modeled what discipline is of faith. How many of you have ever eaten a piece of cake or something bad for you, and as you're eating it, the whole time you're doing destructive self-talk? You're going, this is so bad for me. This is terrible for me. This is awful for me. So you're totally ingesting that thought. So it's going to manifest in your body because you're telling yourself that it's toxic and it's bad for you.
So, for instance, shoulders, when they have, you know, that's hard because my left shoulder has been issues. I mean, I do yoga, but I have to be very, like, that hurts. That is a lot on my rotator cuff, right? Now that area, and a little wider makes me feel more solid. Is that wrong?
Okay, no. First of all, let me start with that concept. One, we all have issues in our tissues, don't we? Still picture the block in between your biceps. So it's not like this, right? We squeeze in, do a mula bandha, uliana bandha, and squeeze in, drop the shoulders back, and feel how muscular the pose becomes when we just encourage this one energy.
And one of the reasons I like to use props in all of my classes, restorative or not, is because it helps you to have a fuller expression of the practice.
You've got your own style, whether it's music or what have you. I'll tell you, I am finding more and more that I just like instrumentals. People are so uptight. They don't want to have to worry about the words to the music. They don't want to work. They don't want to have to study something. They just, can you just like relax me and get me through this, you know, so that I can feel really great in an hour.
Let the left thigh slip over the bolster again. Slip your hands behind the right thigh. Draw the thigh in. Take the leg up straight. Flex your foot. Take a breath. And begin to rotate your ankle both ways as you take a couple of nice slow breaths. And just remember some of God's promises in His Word. You are blessed when you're content with just who you are. No more and no less. For in that moment, you will find yourself the proud owner of everything that cannot be bought.
Right hand comes back down, pull the leg back, chaturanga. Inhale, up dog. Exhale, push the earth away from you, down dog. Left hand forward, right hand back. Take a little twist here. Maybe even look at your right thumb. Prayer twist. You can stay right here. Another option, set your hands down, lean forward, side crow.
Those of you who are not yet cueing or who wanted to review some cueing and how to cue so that, honestly, so that people come back to your classes, I think is a really important thing. So we're going to kind of go over that. And those of you who have not cued before, this is going to put a lot of ease in your mind, because you're going to understand exactly what you have to do. And it's so simple that you're going to go, oh, okay, I can do that, because that's something that really bothers people, you know, cueing. If you're laying down, for example, and I hear this all the time, and when you do your final teaches, don't do this because you'll be counted off. Okay, don't go. And now we're going to, those are words that are not needed. Just say, come to all fours. Okay, so you see, the more direction you give people, the more they've got to come out of their rest. And just remember, we call it the final teach because it's, you know, your final exam, if you will. But it's really your first teach. And everyone's always good